Silence. For many on the twin flame journey, this is the most difficult part to face. It is that moment when the person who awakens something deep inside you suddenly withdraws, leaving you with unanswered questions, unfinished conversations, and an ache in your chest that feels unbearable. Silence between twin flames can feel like rejection, abandonment, or punishment. And yet, beneath the surface, this silence carries a higher purpose. It is not here to harm you, but to shape you, to refine your soul, and to create the conditions for growth that cannot be reached in constant contact. On the twin flame path, silence is often misunderstood as a negative stage. Many ask, why did they pull away? Or what did I do wrong? But the truth is, silence is not about wrongness. It is about alignment. It is about giving you the chance to turn inward, to face yourself without distraction, and to step into the strength you were always meant to embody. Think of silence not as an empty void, but as sacred space. It is like fertile soil, waiting for seeds to grow roots before they break through the surface. It is in silence that your fears, doubts, and unhealed parts rise to the surface, asking to be acknowledged. It is also in silence that you discover your own independence, your spiritual strength, and your capacity to stand in love without losing yourself in longing. In this video, I want to take you through the deeper meaning of silence in the twin flame journey. Together, we'll explore why silence exists, how it shapes you, and the ways you can move through it with grace instead of resistance. By the end, you will begin to see silence not as a punishment, but as a gift, a sacred invitation into your own transformation. The first and most important gift of twin flame silence is that it forces you to turn inward. When your twin withdraws, it often feels as if your world has lost its center. You might feel an emptiness, as though a part of you is missing. But this experience teaches you to find your own center again, independent of anyone else. Many people, without realizing it, anchor their sense of identity in the connection. They begin to measure their worth by how close or distant their twin is. Silence disrupts this pattern. It asks you to pause and to recognize that your value does not depend on constant communication. It asks you to remember who you are outside of this bond. When you are left alone in silence, your first instinct may be to chase, to seek answers, to fill the space with action. But in time, you realize that the only true way forward is to sit with yourself. This is where the growth begins. You learn to enjoy your own company. You begin to explore your passions, your creativity, and the things that light you up as an individual. You start reconnecting with the life you may have neglected while being absorbed in the connection. Silence also teaches self-reliance. It encourages you to stop waiting for validation and start building your own inner foundation. You may pick up meditation, journaling, or simply spending more time in nature. These are not distractions, but tools that help you strengthen your relationship with yourself. The stronger you become on your own, the healthier and more balanced the reunion with your twin will eventually be. Without silence, many twin flames would never be pushed into this kind of self-discovery. Constant communication, even if loving, could keep you dependent or stuck in old cycles. Silence strips everything away until you are left with yourself, and in that space, you realize you are whole. You are not half a soul waiting to be completed. You are already complete. And it is from this realization of wholeness that the twin flame journey moves to its higher purpose. Because when both twins discover that they are whole in themselves, the connection can no longer be built on neediness. It becomes a bond of freedom, of strength, of two souls choosing each other from a place of fullness. Silence is the first step to teaching you this truth. Silence can feel like a mirror. Without the constant noise of messages, calls, or interactions, all of your unhealed emotions rise to the surface. This is not a punishment, but a necessary step in your growth. When your twin pulls away, old wounds of abandonment, rejection, or insecurity often get triggered. These wounds are not new. They were already there, buried in your subconscious. The connection only brought them into the light. Many resist this stage because it is uncomfortable. It is easier to blame the twin for withdrawing than to face the emotions that silence awakens. But this stage is incredibly important. Silence gives you the opportunity to process feelings that may have been ignored for years, even lifetimes. It teaches you how to sit with your pain instead of escaping it. In these moments, You might notice memories resurfacing, times when you felt unworthy, times when you were left out, times when love felt conditional. The silence acts as a container, holding space for these wounds to be acknowledged. If you stay present, you can begin to release the old stories attached to them. Healing through silence does not mean suppressing emotions. It means allowing them to flow, crying when you need to, writing down your feelings, or speaking them aloud in prayer or meditation. The more you allow these emotions to be felt, the less power they hold over you. Slowly, the weight begins to lift, and you find yourself less reactive, less dependent on constant reassurance, and more grounded in your own truth. Silence also reveals the patterns of fear that block you from love. It shows you the inner dialogue that says, "I'm not good enough," or "Love always leaves me." Once these voices are visible, you can challenge them. You can begin to replace them with truths like, "I am worthy," and "Love is my natural state." If there were no silence, these wounds would remain hidden. Constant interaction would keep them buried under temporary comfort. But silence creates the stillness necessary for them to rise, to be seen, and to be healed. This is why silence is not the end of the journey. It is the cleansing stage that prepares you for the love you truly desire. Through silence, you realize that pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to guide you back to the parts of yourself that need love the most. And when you learn to give yourself that love, you no longer fear abandonment because you know you will never abandon yourself again. Silence in the twin flame journey is never random. It is a divinely orchestrated pause that allows you to align more deeply with your spiritual path. Many enter the twin flame experience with limited awareness of their own spiritual nature. The connection acts like a spark, awakening you to higher truths, but silence is what stabilizes that awakening and gives it depth. When communication stops, you are no longer distracted by external noise. You are given the gift of quiet space where you can listen to your intuition, notice synchronicities, and deepen your connection to the divine. Without realizing it, many begin to meditate more, pay attention to their dreams, or feel drawn to spiritual practices like energy healing, breathwork, or prayer. These are not accidents. The silence is guiding you to seek support beyond the physical, to remember that the journey is as much about your soul as it is about your twin. Spiritual alignment during silence often feels like a stripping away. Old identities fall apart, material attachments lose their hold, and things that once mattered no longer feel as important. You may even feel like you're losing parts of yourself. But in truth, you are being realigned. The universe uses silence to recalibrate your vibration so that you can embody a higher frequency of love. This process also teaches surrender. Silence shows you that you cannot control the timing, the pace, or the decisions of your twin. You are asked to let go of expectations and to trust in divine timing. This surrender is not about giving up hope, but about shifting your focus inward, trusting that the universe has a plan greater than what your mind can imagine. Through silence, many discover a stronger connection to their higher self. They begin to receive insights about their life purpose, soul mission, and the role they are meant to play in the collective awakening of humanity. Twin flame connections are never just personal, they are also part of a greater spiritual unfolding. Silence is where the clarity about this greater purpose often emerges. As you deepen spiritually, you begin to see silence less as abandonment and more as initiation. It is the space where you are prepared for the next level of your journey. Without it, you might cling to your twin as your only source of meaning. With it, you learn to root your meaning in the divine, in your soul, and in the larger spiritual tapestry of life. Silence, then, becomes sacred. It is not the absence of love, but the presence of a deeper love, one that connects you not only to your twin, but also to yourself, to the universe, and to the truth that you were never truly separate from love in the first place. One of the most overlooked purposes of twin flame silence is energetic recalibration. The twin flame bond is not only emotional and physical, it is profoundly energetic. Both twins are constantly exchanging energy, whether in communication or in silence. When one pulls away, it may feel painful, but energetically, this pause is essential for balance. The intensity of the twin flame connection can create turbulence. Emotions can run high, triggers surface, and the energy between you can feel overwhelming. Silence provides the reset button. It is a chance for both twins to process, integrate, and stabilize the energy that was exchanged. Without this recalibration, the bond might burn out or become too chaotic to sustain. During silence, you may feel surges of energy, dreams of your twin, or waves of emotion that seem to come from nowhere. This is the energetic link still active between you. What is happening beneath the surface is a rebalancing. If one twin carries too much fear or resistance, the silence allows space for healing. If one twin leans too heavily on the other for stability, the silence creates room for independence. This recalibration is like tuning two instruments so they can harmonize. If one is out of tune, the music will clash. The silence is the tuning process, ensuring that when you come together again, the energy flows in harmony instead of dissonance. It's important to remember that silence does not mean disconnection. Energetically, you are still very much linked. In fact, many report feeling their twin more strongly during silence, as if the absence of physical communication heightens the energetic one. This is a reminder that your bond transcends physical circumstances. The recalibration also affects your chakras and energy body. For example, silence may trigger heart chakra openings, third eye activations, or solar plexus healing, depending on what is needed for balance. You may feel physical symptoms, heart palpitations, pressure in the head, or sudden waves of emotion. These are signs of energetic shifts taking place. The best way to move through this stage is with awareness. Instead of panicking about the silence, use it as an opportunity to ground yourself. Spend time in nature, practice breath work, or engage in energy cleansing rituals. The calmer and clearer your energy becomes, the smoother the recalibration process will be. Eventually, this energetic reset creates a stronger, more stable bond. The silence ensures that when reunion happens, it is not chaotic or unbalanced, but aligned and harmonious. This is why silence, though painful at first, is actually one of the greatest gifts. It ensures that the connection is sustainable for the long term.